Hello, gang. Welcome to our podcast for Friday. It'd be February 15th of 2019. And the top story on, or at least the lead story here on the Drudge Report is spending binge worse than under Obama or Bush. And I would have to agree. And I have lots to say on that, but I'm going to keep it to a real tight time frame on this podcast because I just don't have a whole lot of time right now. But I want to point out a few things here. Bipartisan spending binge is now worse than under Bush and Obama. The first paragraph is we're now at 22 trillion in debt. Despite all that red ink, the Mexican cartels have control of our border, and we're not one bit closer to spending money on our own security, talking about the United States. We've gone into deep debt for everything except the core function of the federal government. And that is absolutely true. I'm going to link up this story here because this is one thing, this is an assertion I've been making for a while now. The Republican Party, or what many people call the conservative party here in America, is not conservative. And they haven't been for a long, long time. They're very much into big spending. The last time we heard someone actually running under the Republican Party for president of the United States who said that spending had to be cut. We had to reduce the size of government was Ron Paul. And then if you go pre Ron Paul, and we're talking Ron Paul 2008, Ron Paul 2012, we didn't even get that from his son, Rand Paul. He definitely wanted to cut spending, but he didn't say anything about cutting government, which is how you really, truly cut spending. So basically, you have to go back to Bush, and that would be Bush Jr. in the 2000 election cycle. He'd be the last one who says, basically reducing the size of government. That's how you truly cut spending. You don't keep your spending up and cut taxes. I mean, that's a sure way to increase your debt and increase it very rapidly. So, in fact, let's go to the usdebtclock.org and see where it's at today. usdebtclock.org. Let's see how bad it is today. But I know we've officially crossed the 22 trillion, and I think we've added, some see my internet's running nice and slow today. Perfect. Just in time for the podcast, too. Um, but I wanted to mention this to you again because this is really important. There is an illusion in the paradigm here in the United States between what a Democrat and what a Republican is. They do have differences, but on spending, they're linked. I guarantee it, folks. And by the way, I'm a political atheist. I go after all of them because there's not a whole lot of them that are worth their salt. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and say that under Trump, with Republican control of the House and of the Senate for 2 years, we had absolutely no cutting of government. None. In fact, it wasn't even brought up. Yeah, we did have a government shutdown, but that's they didn't eliminate the jobs. They just went on furlough. So that's something I would like you all to think about too. Whether you identify yourself as a Democrat or a Republican, one side or the other, they're both on the left side of center, guaranteed, because the true political spectrum is from the far, far right, no government, anarchy, and if you go slightly to the left, you get Minarchinist. Then you go, constitutional, libertarian. I mean, that's all on the right-hand side of the political spectrum. On the left-hand side, far, far left is complete totalitarianism. And then if you go just a little bit from that, you get communism. Then you get, basically socialism. And I'll draw that out for you guys sometime in a future podcast. But the spending here in the United States is out of control. Look at these numbers. Over 22 trillion, and somehow we were able to add some, oh boy, some nearly, looks like 20 billion, literally in a few days, just in a couple of days. And this is debt. So this is above and beyond what they've been collecting in taxes. So the spending was much higher than that, but that's how much debt they had to add in the last 2 days. So keep this in mind, folks. I mean, this number keeps on rising. And what point does this become a problem? Well, it basically depends on foreign investors. It depends on when China says, hey, we don't want to carry your bonds anymore. You guys are never going to pay back that debt. Japan saying the same thing. Hey, listen, our economy's in pretty bad shape too. We need to get rid of these American bonds, so we can shore up our own economy. We could actually put it into Japanese bonds or something. That's the point where that debt really comes home and the chickens come home to roost and bad things start happening in the economy, and it will happen fairly quickly too. This isn't a thing that's going to be long drawn out. When bonds sell off, bad things happen very quickly. And I'm talking about foreign investors. So far, we have the Federal Reserve picking up the slack on most of the bonds. At least that's what it looks like. We can't prove it, but that's very much what it looks like. And that's monetizing the debt. And that's supposed to be illegal. And I do believe that the Federal Reserve is not supposed to be buying the bonds because literally what happens is the U.S. government says we need $1 trillion. And so they create a bond, give it to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve prints off $1 trillion in paper money, gives it to the federal government at interest. And then, then the Federal Reserve takes those bonds and sells it off in what's called open market operations. That's when big banks come in and start buying these bonds, and the big banks are supposed to actually actively sell them into, for instance, IRAs, retirement plans, that sort of thing. Insurance companies buy them, but what's happening is they're just keeping the bonds. They're not selling them because no one wants to buy them. So that's what we refer to as monetizing the debt. The Federal Reserve creates money out of nothing, it takes the bond, charges interest on that money it created out of nothing, and in the end, it holds all the cards. So it's kind of like playing a game of Monopoly with someone that's truly evil. And well, not kind of. It's pretty much exactly what it's like. But like I said, I just wanted to bring this story to your attention. It was top in the Drudge Report, and it is interesting that it is getting some play in the media now. The spending is out of control, but it's interesting how they didn't want to talk about this level of spending under Obama. Obama was horrible. Um, Now, I'm not talking about the man, I'm talking about the administration. And Congress has a lot to do with it too. Whenever you hear someone say the president is responsible for the debt, that's not exactly or entirely true. We have a Congress that works with the president, and they have to propose the bills. The president signs them. So it's not like the president literally says, well, we're going to spend $4 trillion this year, and then it somehow magically happens. It doesn't exactly work that way. But at any rate, that's all I got for you guys today. And like I said, I'm in kind of a hurry, so I have to cut this one short today. We do have more podcasts coming up very, very soon. We'll be doing some more this weekend. And I want to thank each and every one of you that take a little bit of time out of your day to actually listen to our podcasts and see what we have to say about some of the things going on, very important things going on. And we'll come out with some different kinds of podcasts too, where we'll do some news stories. We'll have more people joining in this weekend, so we have multiple participants, different points of view and perspectives, and so we'll be able to share that with you as well. But thank you again for spending time with us today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.